Hi everyone, it's Nicole here for Simon Says Stamp, and today we are celebrating the STAMPtember exclusive limited edition Brutus Monroe stamp set. This is a 6x8 clear stamp set called Autumn Greetings. And while it has a Halloween and an autumn image for this awesome snow globe, there's also a Christmas image. I am going to concentrate on the autumn images here today, but I stamped all three, so I'll probably be creating something with that a little bit later that I'll share on social media just because I think this is a fantastic stamp set. I am starting with 3 panels of Nina heavyweight cardstock, and I am stamping the snow globe in the center of each using Hero Art's intensified black ink. This is going to give a fantastic black stamped image of the snow globe. And I'm doing it assembly line style since all of these are going to be exactly the same. Once I have that snow globe stamped, we are going to stamp the insides of our snow globes. Starting with, I guess we'll stamp the holiday image first, and you can see it fits perfectly there inside. And it's just going to make these customized snow globes that are so incredible. So look at that holiday image. Isn't that fun? We'll clean this image. We're going to switch that out for the next one. And again, assembly line style, stamping all of these first, and then we will go ahead and color and assemble them. So here is the truck image, the autumn image. Stunning, so detailed, so beautiful. And then finally, we'll finish with the Halloween haunted house image. I am a huge fan of fall and autumn, and so I'm always especially drawn to these kinds of images, and look how fun that is. Isn't that so cool? I absolutely love the detail on these beautiful images. Next, we are going to color everything in. Across the bottom of the screen, I have listed the Copic marker colors I've used to color in all the areas for easy reference. So if anytime you're wondering exactly what I used, you can find that information there. These are super detailed images. However, I really found the coloring to be super quick. I kept the shading to just 2 shades per color. So 2 colors of yellow for the most part. There might be a couple areas that I use 3, but for the most part it's about 2. And just kind of kept it easy. Now the sky will be it'll be different just because there's quite a bit more of that in especially this Halloween image. And I'm starting with my lightest color, and I'll build that up to a darker color. I don't want it to be black because I still want to be able to see it. But we're going to use some beautiful blue shades in B34, 37, and 39. Blend all of that out. Just simply add all of that great color here. We're going to color in the haunted house with some earth tones. This is super detailed as well, and I really just kind of colored fast. I really want more the illusion. I'm not worried quite so much about being perfect, if that makes sense. So just super quick with E55 and E57, a little YR23 for the insides of some of the windows. For our base of our snow globe, we're going to go with some yellows and oranges with YR31, 24, and 27. We'll deepen and darken the edges, especially with a little E57. But just kind of tying it all into that autumn theme. I wanted to go with something a little bit different. I didn't want grays, I didn't want greens. I wanted it to be separate from the snow globe, but still autumnal in colors, and it really balances out, I think, the moon and the jack-o'-lantern. We've got the fence posts with E55 and E57, the tombstones with warm gray 5 and 7, as well as the roof on the haunted house. And we really pretty much have this almost all color, just a few little things. The window casings, the shutters that are all crooked, that's going to be E57. Fill in some of those windows, make sure we got everything colored. And how cute and fun is that? Next, I'm going to take some of the Honeybee Stamps detail and background blending brushes and add color around my snow globe. I'm not masking. I'm using Distress Oxide inks in Wild Honey then stormy sky, and finally black soot. And you will notice the wild honey really gets covered up. However, right around the edge of the snow globe, it's going to end up kind of looking like a glow. That's the look we're going for. I wanted it to almost appear like the snow globe is glowing a little bit, so there's that yellow really is just kind of right around the edge. We're going to clean up our work surface. We're going to take our Copic blending marker, colorless blender, and move or push those colors away in the highlighted areas of our snow globes to give it that glassy kind of look. I also took a white pen and added detail in with that just to reinforce the look and feel of glass. We're going to take some Lawn Fawn liquid shimmer and splatter that all over the surface with a small paintbrush, and that is going to wick away and oxidize the background especially and give some nice shimmer and shine to our panel. I will mention too, before I inked this, I trimmed the panel down to 4 by 5 1/4 inches. I took a black glaze pen and added detail to the bats so they really shine. And then I've adhered this to a white top fold card base. Finally, to finish that snow globe look and effect, I'm going to cover this whole thing with Hero Arts Crystal Lacquer. The crystal lacquer is going to give it a glassy finish as it dries. You could also use glossy accents or other similar product. Now this is a huge area, so I just decided to squirt out a whole bunch of the crystal lacquer, and I'm going to take a paintbrush and paint on a little bit thinner application than it would be if I squeezed it out across the whole thing. That's also going to take a lot longer to dry if I do that. So by kind of painting it on, and I know it really muddies it and makes it look kind of not quite as translucent, but it will dry translucent and have that gorgeous glass look that you see in the finished card. I just want that to be a smooth application, make sure I get it all filled. I did make sure and washed my paintbrush immediately after doing this so that it didn't dry and ruin my paintbrush. If you need a little bit more crystal lacquer, you can always do that. There were a couple spots that just weren't evening out very well, and I'm just going to carefully make sure that this is all covered. Then I'm going to set this aside to completely dry, and we're going to work on our other card design, our coloring in the other background, the autumn background, and we'll come back to this and finish both cards at the same time. So for our second card panel, we have the beautiful autumn scene with the truck in front of the barn, all of the pumpkins, the trees in the background. So, so pretty. Going to use all the same colors. This time we will be including some reds and some teals. So we've colored our pumpkins with YR 31, 24, and 27. We've got the slats for the truck bed with E55 and E57. We're going to go ahead and go into our barn with R37 and 89. And just like with the Halloween background, I did super fast coloring. There are tons and tons of little leaves floating all over the scene of this. At times, some of them maybe got covered up with other markers just because they're such small areas. I didn't worry about it. I would just kind of touch them with a red or a yellow or an orange or something to add a little color into those if another color accidentally bled into those. So I didn't worry about it too much. There was also pumpkins in the bed of the truck that I kind of forgot when I did all of the ones down in front. So I did those real quick. And then the green is a pretty big area, or the trees are a pretty big area. Yes, the leaves are falling off, but I didn't want to do the trees in oranges or reds because we've got our barn, we've got our pumpkins. So I went ahead and did these great yellow greens, YG 95 and 97, E55 and E57 for our tree trunk. And then I can just kind of, once I have all my blending and shading done for the tree, I will go back in and kind of add dot detail with my darker of the two markers. That's the YG 97. So I'm just going to kind of trace it out, blend out those harsh lines, and then I'm just going to kind of dot all over around it to give it a little more texture. But by using greens, my individual leaves in reds and oranges and yellows are all going to pop much better off the background. Then we're going to use our blues again for the background of our snow globe. That is our dark blue colors in B34, 37, and 39. Some green along the grass along the bottom edge here in front. Just kind of working our way through this whole image. I did speed this up just to help save some time today. Here's that dot detail for the trees. But these are so much fun to color. I love the images. I think they're very classic, traditional, beautiful images. Adding in all of those great leaf colors, glows from the barn windows with YR31, the top of the silo, warm gray 5 and 7. Let's go ahead and get the rest of our sky. There's another tree on the other side, but coloring in the sky really just kind of helped balance, for me anyway, kind of where I needed to go. There's also leaves up here. So you can see that I colored the sky blue and then went over with my reds because the red will cover that up and you can still see the leaves floating. Our other tree. Kind of trace that out very, very quick. I left the truck for last, and really it was because all along I knew I was going to color it teal. I don't know why I saved it for last, because I just kind of kept thinking, do I want to do teal? What color do I want to do? And so I felt like by coloring everything else, it really kind of cemented that idea in my mind that teal would show up well. I definitely want that truck to be the focal point. So this is BG 45, 49, and 18. And I darkened and deepened the teal color as much as I could. It really complements the oranges and the reds so beautifully, I think. And just kind of going in, adding all of that detail, leaves that are floating in front. The glass for the windows on the truck, the windshield and the side window, that's BG 0000 and BG 01. And then for the base, just like I did with the Halloween card, I want something that's going to really pop. So I went with reds with R37 and 89, even blended in a little warm gray 7 here and there. And we're just going to blend this until we get the transition that I want, the nice blended look. Then we are going to ink this background. Very similar to the last one, we're just going to use a different mid-tone color. I started with Wild Honey again because I want that glow coming from around our snow globe. And the yellow actually looks terrible, I think, or when you start, because it's almost like, oh no, I've just ruined everything I've colored. But once you add in some fired brick now, which will almost give a reddish tint to this, it really makes a huge difference. So we'll grab that fired brick and just go over most of the yellow, very, very much like before. And you can see the red, when inked with yellow, is going to make that orange, which complements a fall-themed card beautifully. We're just going to go all the way around the edges, not quite to the snow globe, because that's going to give that nice little yellow glow right around the globe. Blend out all of that, and then again around the edges with black soot. And that almost covers up the fired brick too, but it gives this beautiful glow that finishes off the design beautifully. I even went back over with fired brick to blend out more. I had to work a little harder with this color combination than the previous one just to get it looking exactly the way I wanted it to look. But definitely worth it, and I love the finished result. You can see I'm adding more fired brick in here. Again, no masking. You can definitely mask if you prefer the masked look, but I did not worry about it here today. This would be a pretty easy image to mask. I talk often that I'm not a huge fussy cutter. I will do it, and I do love the look of it a lot. I love masked images. But if I can get away with not masking, I often will. But this would be an easy one to mask if you wanted to. We're again going to take the Lawn Fawn Liquid Shimmer, and we are going to splatter our background for that shimmery, fantastic look all over the background design. And then we'll let this completely sit and air dry before we grab our crystal lacquer, and we are going to cover this snow globe as well. Now, before I do that, I actually decided to go ahead and stamp our greetings. And there are lots of fantastic greetings in this stamp set. There's the Season's Greetings and Merry Christmas for our Christmas image. There's Happy Halloween, Trick or Treat, Happy Haunting for the Halloween image. Then there's Autumn Greetings and Pumpkin Patch for our Autumn snow globe. We're going to use Autumn Greetings for this one, and you can see I'm using my Misty to slightly curve that to fit the base of our snow globe a little bit better. We're going to stamp that with a clear embossing ink and heat emboss with white embossing powder so it really pops off the background. The white embossing powder is going to tie into the white border all the way around our card, because remember we trimmed down our backgrounds to 4 by 5 1/4 before putting them on the Simon Says Stamp white top fold card bases. So it's just going to, I really wanted something very, very visible that was going to show up well. So that is going to be the greeting for our autumn themed card. For our Halloween card, I chose to use Happy Halloween. And again, we're going to curve that to fit the base. We're going to stamp that with the Simon Says Stamp clear embossing ink. Heat emboss with Simon Says Stamp white embossing powder to finish the card, or finish that part of the sentiment. And look how awesome the crystal lacquer looks on the Halloween card. Let's go ahead and add our crystal lacquer to the other design, because this is going to have to sit and dry. These are cards that will need just a little bit of dry time, so I would recommend letting them sit and dry. I mean, they'll be dry to the touch probably within an hour or so, but I would let it sit and dry probably a good 24 hours. That's just my personal preference before putting it in an envelope. Again, painting on the crystal lacquer. Clean the paintbrush right away, and then we're going to finish our card with some sentiment strips from Simon Says Stamp. These are pre-made strips, no stamping required. The Halloween one is from the Sentiment Strips Halloween set, and the Gratitude one, or the Autumn one, is from the Sentiment Strip Gratitude set. And I trimmed these into thin strips, popped them up with foam adhesive, and placed them underneath my snow globes. And then to finish my cards, I'm going to add a scattering of Pretty Pink Posh mini star confetti in gold to the Autumn card. I'm applying those with a crystal katana and some Lawn Fawn Glue Tube liquid glue. Then for the Halloween card, I'm going to use the silver mini star confetti. We'll add little drops all over. I added all the drops first, and then I simply grabbed the stars with the crystal katana and popped them in place. These little stars will round out the design and finish off our cards perfectly. Thank you guys so much for joining me today for these 2 autumn themed cards featuring the STAMPtember Brutus Monroe Autumn Greetings 6x8 stamp set. The supplies I used are listed and linked below the video here on YouTube. Thank you so much for joining in on our STAMPtember festivities. Please be sure to visit the Simon Says Stamp blog for more information on this project. Thank you guys so much for joining me, and we'll catch you next time.